Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne. This is my video coaching newsletter, and the topic of today's newsletter is she wants to be celibate now? Well, that doesn't sound very exciting. So I get an email here from a guy who is dating this woman he met. I think he met her online, as a matter of fact. And after about a month and a half, 2 months of dating and having lots of great fun sex, she decided that she wants to be celibate. And now she's trying to unilaterally change the terms of their, it's not really a relationship yet, but their romance. And obviously he's not too excited about that. So even after she told him that she wanted to be celibate because of things that happened in the past, they were hanging out and he was still able to seduce her, but she keeps harping on it. And he's like, I really don't want to do this. And so he's like, what do I do at this point to get her to do the things that I want to do? Because I'm not interested in changing what we have to being basically a sexless, platonic type of relationship. So I got a quote that I wrote, and then we'll go through his email. And the quote says, when someone you are dating tries to unilaterally change the terms of your romantic relationship into a platonic and non-sexual one, you should never agree to this if it's not what you want. Why? Often this is in response to another man or ex in the background she wants to date and explore things with, while keeping you as a backup plan, or a subtle under-the-radar way to friend zone you if you have done things that made you appear weak, unattractive, and turned her off. Alphas always focus on their outcomes, while betas put their needs, wants, and desires last in hopes that being nice will eventually get them what they want. Never sacrifice your needs, wants, and desires in hopes that it will please others. Why? It's not authentic or honest and will cause the other person to value and respect you less. You don't get what you deserve in life, only what you negotiate. How many times have you heard me say that statement? A lot, because it's really important. And all too often, whether it's in a romantic interaction or a friendship, or maybe you're negotiating for a salary in your new job, or maybe even in your friendships, you're negotiating and putting yourself last. And when you do that, your needs are not going to be met. And when you take a deal that is not what you want on some level, you're going to continually resent the hell out of that. Strongest negotiating position is always being able to walk away and mean it. So how can we apply that to this particular situation? He says, hey coach, I've been following you for 2 years. I met a girl 2 months ago or so after we met at the club. Her body is out of this world and she's into the gym and self-improvement, just like me. I crashed at her place, and a few days afterwards, I came back over and spent the night with Indoor Olympics, of course. Well, of course. Before we had sex, she said she was trying to be celibate due to something forceful, i.e. pseudo-rape, probably some guy with no sensory acuity. So that should be something that you might think, okay, so she got raped, she had something traumatic happen, maybe she's not completely over it, maybe she needs therapy and counseling, maybe she's not really the kind of person you should be considering as a potential girlfriend. Maybe she's got some healing that she needs to do on her own first. It's important not to just hear something like that and go, I'm going to save her. I'm going to help her get over this cruel, awful man that she encountered. I mean, the bottom line is it's not your fault that she's in this position. Doesn't mean you can't be loving and supportive of her. But the same token, the whole purpose of all relationships is you go there to give. You're there to help each other grow and become more, and you're there to meet each other's needs. And right at the beginning, she's saying, I'm going to put some rules on this relationship because of something that happened in the past. So in other words, both of you are going to suffer because of what happened in a previous interaction with some other guy. That's not fair to you, and it's not fair to her. The idea is you just met each other, and the slate is totally clean between the two of you. And what's happening is she's bringing baggage from the past and saying the past equals the future, in essence. And that's where you got to say, I'm not down with that being celibate thing. But if it's a really important thing to her, but that's just not how you roll, then it's best to say, hey, I'm probably not the right guy for you because it's not what I'm looking for. And for me to continue hanging out and dating you and saying that I'm okay with that when I'm not, it's not fair to me, it's not fair to you. It's better that you go find a guy who's cool with being celibate for a while until sometime in the future you decide you don't want to be celibate anymore. But life's too short. I can't do that. I can't put my personal life on hold for somebody to figure things out. This was prior to me seducing her, and for the next month or so, we hung out at her place. We drank wine, we cuddled, we smoked that herb, and had a great bit of sex. I didn't pursue, and I let her text me mostly. A couple of weeks ago, she said she wanted to be celibate. She said it wouldn't be for long, just a month or less. Thanks, but no thanks. Prior to her telling me this, she said she doesn't have sex with more than one person at a time, and her best friend, they're both Nigerian, and apparently they aren't as fast as us. Yeah, you hooked up with her right away, but now she wants to slow things down. Some women use the sex to control the man. I don't think so. Personally, not for me. No, thank you. It's not one of my values. And women who have that value, that's fine if that's her value, but we don't share the same values. And if we don't share the same values, there's no point in dating. Because when you share different values like that, somebody's going to have to compromise and sacrifice what they really want. She said, who I met is recently celibate and hasn't had sex supposedly with her boyfriend of 3 months. So in other words, her girlfriend hasn't had sex with her boyfriend of 3 months. So in other words, she's trying to live her life according to her girlfriend's expectations. Possibly. Remember, she doesn't move as fast, even though she's sleeping with them. Never ever agree when somebody tries to unilaterally change the terms of your relationship. Remember, the idea is you want somebody who's ready, willing, able, and open. Just like women who turn their head and give you the cheek. Not because they don't want to kiss you, but because they're structured and following rules. This is something else. This is, to me, a red flag of a structured woman who is going to use rules and routines and rituals to control the man in her life, potentially. Just saying, buyer beware. He says, anyway, after refreshing up on some of your videos about walking away and standing up for what you want, I texted her and told her I only wanted romance and intimacy and didn't like the structure she was now trying to impose on our relationship. Good job, dude. But you have to be congruent with that. Because even though you say that one time, if you ever seen the old Star Trek series, women are remember there was like, I'm talking about the Star Trek series from the 1980s, Star Trek The Next Generation. There was this alien race. It was like a hybrid of humans and technology. They were called the Borg. And the Borg flew around the universe in these big giant cube-like spaceships. And so when you encountered them, they would say, lower your shield, or they would say, we are the Borg. Lower your shields. You will be assimilated. Resistance is futile. In a lot of ways, women are kind of like the Borg. They come into your life and they assimilate and they take over. And there's a lot of different ways they go about it. It's like when the Enterprise would fight the Borg, after they fired their laser beams and shot their photon torpedoes, it worked the first few times, but afterwards, their technology was able to adapt, and basically then their lasers and their photon torpedoes just bounced off and had no effect and caused no damage. So they had to change their approach. And so the point being of that metaphor is that if you know what you want, if it's your truth, you have to speak that and be willing to walk away from people that are just saying, nope, I'm not going to give you what you want. He says, I winded up telling her that I wanted to talk to her in person about it. So I came over one morning, told her what I wanted, and seduced her. Nice. I left and told her to call me later. She texted me 2 days later saying no text or call. I told her I was busy, testing for school. I graduate college in a few months. I jokingly asked if she missed me, and she said, I do, but I'm a bit upset with you. And I said, why? She claimed she was upset because I seduced her, and now she had to start over with her sex fast. Well, I would have used that as an opportunity. It's like no text or call. I was like, I'm really glad you called and texted me. I miss you. Let's get together. When are you available? That's what you should have done. Remember, this phone is for setting dates. So you got tripped up there, dude. See what I mean? It's like a different approach you weren't expecting. He says, I called her and reiterated that I think she's great, but I want unrestricted romance. Remember, it's like you said you were not down with it, and therefore she submitted, and you guys had your intimacy. Well, then a few days later, she tries to reimpose the structure, again, trying a different approach. But it's still the same thing. She's trying to sell you on why you should be celibate, and you're trying to sell her on why you ain't interested in it. So she's going to be relentless with it. Until you just say, look, I don't want to hear about it anymore. If the celibacy is so important to you, then you shouldn't keep sleeping with me. And you should go find somebody that is cool with being celibate. But as long as you're calling me and we're hanging out and we're still hooking up, then the reality is you're not interested in celibacy. But as soon as you start that, I'm gone. I'm not down with that. It's not what I'm looking for. It's not what I signed up for when we met. She said she really still wants to date me, but just without sex. Again, this is the middle of a negotiation. He says, I told her to call me after her fast is up and alluded that we should go our separate ways for the time being. She said, well, I'll still text you good morning and stuff. Now, why would she do that? Because she's going to try, that's another way that she's going to try to get you to go along with her agenda. And you can't do it because you've told her I'm not interested in being celibate. So you always have to be congruent with that. It's like the third or fourth different way she's trying to change her approach and assimilate you, if you will. Resistance is futile. And the longer you're with the woman, the more they come up with clever ways to get you to do what they want. At which point I told her to refrain from that and just hit me up when she's willing and able. That's the right response, dude. It's been a week and I really want to text her, but I'm not. Remember, the strongest negotiating position is being able to walk away and mean it. She keeps saying she wants to be celibate and you kept saying I'm not interested in that. So now it's kind of like a game of chicken. We're going to find out. If she's really committed to being celibate, then you're not going to hear from her. And if she's not, you will. And when you do hear from her, just make the next date. Assume she wants to see you, invite her over, hang out, have fun, hook up. Let this girl reach out to you. I mean, you're at the point now where she's pretty much should be doing 100% of the calling, texting, and pursuing anyway. He says, staying busy and working out. Any advice, coach? Well, you handled yourself pretty well, but like I said, you got a woman here. It's obviously probably some shit's happened in her past that's no fault of yours. You had nothing to do with. It's obviously interfering in her ability to act normal and healthy in a potential relationship with you. So that right there is a red flag. That should make you go, not really. And on top of that, she's trying to get you to agree to being celibate and having something platonic, because her girlfriend is going to be looking for validation. And if her girlfriend can convince her to be just like her, then her girlfriend's going to feel good about punishing her boyfriend and making him be celibate and have blue balls. That's their little ecosystem. That's their little social community, if you will. And you've just got to be strong enough to say, I'm not participating in that. I'm not down with it. I'm not interested. I don't want to talk about it anymore. If you want to be celibate, go find a guy that's cool with that, because I'm not. I'm just not interested in it. Thanks, but no thanks. You're trying to serve me a big shit pie, and I don't want that shit pie. Even if you give me some salt and some pepper and some fucking tapioca pudding to go along with it, I ain't fucking down with that shit. No thank you. But stick to your guns, dude. But like I said, the potentiality for a woman in this place to be the kind of woman it's a good person to get into a relationship with. Because this is one, remember, it's like I said, resistance is futile. You will be assimilated. Just because she's cool with it now, maybe 2 or 3 months down the road, because her girlfriend's still going to be being celibate, be celibate, be celibate. You're a fucking slut because you're sleeping with them. You should be celibate like me. And that girl's going to be constantly talking into her ear. And if she values that girlfriend's opinion, again, she's not going to stop. She's going to be relentless. Do you really want to fucking deal with that? I personally wouldn't. You got options, dude. You found her, you can find somebody else. That's the way you should look at it, with an abundance mentality. She's got to earn a chance with you, not the other way around. If she's willing to let it go and just have the kind of relationship you want, great. But if she keeps throwing this celibacy bullshit in your face, tell her to fucking pound sand that you're not interested and wish her all the best. You might have to eventually just cut her off and say, this doesn't work for me. I told you so many times, you keep bringing it up. We obviously don't share the same values, so I wish you all the best. You might have to cut her loose eventually, dude. Because like I said, I don't see her giving that up, especially as long as she has a girlfriend who thinks celibacy is a good idea, and her girlfriend's been able to successfully impose it on her beta male boyfriend. That's what I would do if I were you. And if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to go to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book whatever coaching option works for you. And I will talk to you soon.